I just want to digress. It's getting interesting in my mind. So, you know how you said that you don't even know that person, you meet the person for the first time. There's a correlation between men and sex and meeting themselves for the first time. It seems like the more maybe successful they get, maybe they have other sexual desires. You see, where the side chick comes in. So, for example, the Bible says the marriage bed is undefiled. Does that mean you should have a threesome? Because in the world that we live in today, sex is put in your face even more than ever. That even within the home, a lot of things are being tried. A man now makes more money. He's meeting himself for the first time. Maybe his sexual desires, he's not be able to ask for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. But now we can afford to do A, B, C, D. Yes. So how do we talk about that within the Christian context? Now you're making money. Now you have all these sexual. Your wife is not that person. How do we balance all of this out? Because in the last podcast I had, they said one of the reasons that men step out is sex, not being sexually fulfilled.
For me, it's a different ballgame. I usually say that, I see there are so many things that they define men by that doesn't work for me. So for a long time, I questioned how to grow in the understanding that, men step out because of sex. And I took my time to really read, because there's a volume of knowledge about that. And it's not my reality. Because they say men are spontaneous, you just see, it doesn't work like that for me. If I meet somebody, your level of intelligence is very important to how I relate with you sexually.
You're psychosexual.
I'm sapiosexual in that sense, because it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, I don't see it. What I see first is the quality of your thinking. Yeah. And if you don't communicate that, so I can't be with somebody I don't have a relationship with. I have to have a relationship with you. We have to be communicating at a level. And I don't, it doesn't mean that we are even talking about ourselves. It could be about United States, could be about politics, Bin Laden, terrorism, could be anything, but we have to be able to communicate, right? And so for a very long time, I used to think something is wrong with me. Why men say these things, I don't just feel these things. So, but I began to meet other men, and I realized that, so this thing is true on many levels. On many levels, it's not, right? But the fact is that if a man steps out, he hides under the idea that, it's a shield for him, that he's not having good sex, and so he goes out. Science is already clear that the idea of enough sex is a myth. You can't eliminate contentment from any human experience that you are going to have. People tell me that, I just can't be with one woman for the rest of my life. But you have one.
Christians, so that's what's
Christians. But then you've been with one barber for the last 21 years.
One mechanic.
You have only one mechanic for the past 26 years. You have only driven a BMW in all your 8 cars. You cannot see yourself driving. That's fidelity. So it's selective reasoning. When we begin to choose the platforms that experience the release of our virtue, right? Because you understand fidelity. You understand it. That is why you are loyal to a brand. All your life, you are loyal to a place of your grooming. You will drive 2 hours. You will, just to go. You are loyal to a restaurant. You will inconvenience yourself to come to that restaurant. We used to have this rice in my hometown in Ikenne in Ogun State called Ayamashe rice.
Oh yeah,
it originated from my hometown, right? And people will send their driver from Lagos to go to Ikenne to go buy that rice in Ogun State from Lagos, from VI, from Ikoyi. It's incredible, right? That's loyalty. That's fidelity. That's advocacy itself, on many levels. So when you look at it, I find it it's just shallow excuse to say that. And I tell women, listen, there's nothing. They say, oh, go and get this type of string, Y string, G string, get this type of bra, get this to tame your man. I said, look, the dog that wants to be lost will not hear the hunter's whistle. It doesn't matter how much underwear you go and pack. A fool will find his way out if that's his resolve. So I don't I empathize with whatever the reality of the man is that is taking him out, but I refuse to underscore the fact that it is the wife in any way that is responsible for that. You know, I recognize the facts, but I can't accept responsibility that it's because of what the woman is doing or not doing that is necessitating that, right? Because there are so many other problems you have. You don't go out, you don't say because you are poor, you want to go get a gun and go rob a bank.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You find creative ways within the boundaries of legality to solve that problem. And that's how we solve most of our problems. It is the one that is pleasurable, that, you know, ministers to our nuisance, you know, and gives wings to our whims and caprices that we activate in the name of the irresponsibility of the other person.
Okay, so let me bring some. Number one, like you said, I'm not someone that supports any form of stereotype, because most of the time there are no data to support some of these things. For many years, people say, "Oh, men cheat, all men are dog," and I'm like, ah. In fact, I sit down, I say, "Guys, you get side chick." I ask, I say, but this thing when they talk is like, are we mad? Is there something wrong with us? Because it's not our reality. So I don't believe in those, so men cheat, all men this, all men that. Is a software that has been put in us, and we attract what we believe at the end of the day.
Yes, sir.
So all men don't cheat, all men don't cheat. And if you say all men, who cheats more? If you say men cheat more, who are they cheating with?
Women.
They're cheating with women. You understand? So the hypocrisy of our world, you know, is so amazing. Oh, it's just amazing. So I want us to deal with some deep issues that leads to some of these things so that we can understand. Number one, when we don't do things the way the Creator wants it done, these are the results. According to the plan of God, you are supposed to get married without any sexual experience to someone that has no sexual experience. So your first sexual experience is supposed to be with the person you are yoked with as one flesh. So whatever you find there is your reality. There is nothing else to compare it with. So when you are saying it's a 2 minutes man, who defines what? Because you have never been, even it's 2 minutes, that 2 minutes is your 2 hours. Because that's your reality. So the root cause, beginning from there, is the fact that many of us have messed up. So by the time you are now getting married, you are on the bed with your spouse, but there are 16 other people in that bed. And you are comparing the kiss, the moaning, the romance, the way to that of this one and this one, and then dissatisfaction starts from that point. And then there is no communication. There is no discussion. So you have desires and fantasies that you are not communicating. And it's becoming a problem. Because if you say that, what happened now? I will have done, I love this one. I can't do that, or we can't do this. There will be discussion. There's no discussion. So number one, that's error of not doing it God's ways, number one. Number two, when you now get married, we need to understand your mind is the sexual organ, not your penis or your vagina. It's your mind. And once you get married, if you don't renew your mind, if you don't deal with your mind, you will get into trouble. No matter, let the woman give you 10 a day. As long as everything you are seeing is sending a different signal to your mind, your curiosity will be looking for expression. So it's very, very important for us to always make sure that we realize that, look, it's your mind. If an 80-year-old woman is naked, it doesn't move you. Dogs don't wear clothes. Animals don't wear clothes. Why are you not seduced by their nakedness? It's because your mind tells you there's nothing there. But when you see a young woman voluptuous, your body is moving. Why? It's because your mind tells you there's something there to explore. So we should work on our mind. And women should please not put themselves under that unnecessary pressure of taking responsibility for an irresponsible man. A man that is not responsible is not responsible. It's not your fault. If you like, give him everything. All the chandelier turn around is a lie. He will do whatever he wants to do. He will look for one reason why what you are doing is still not enough. Just make sure that there is constant communication, and then you are expressing what you can express, and what you cannot express, you are discussing, and you are always on the same page. Once that is done, play your part, and don't allow somebody to put you in bondage.
Wow. Thank you for that. There was one question that wasn't answered. The marriage bed not being undefiled. Because now, like you said, Pastor Lumide, unfortunately, in the world we live in today, most people are very sexually active before they get married, as we know. Their sexual appetite is on another level. But when they marry, they want to marry somebody nobody has touched. They want a virgin.
But with the experience of
ahead, somebody that has not that experience. And in fact, I think the culture even celebrates that men are more experienced than women. Yeah. And then you now get married and she's not meeting that, your sexual appetite. And then I had people ask me, but the Bible say marriage bed is undefiled. I said, the Bible say you invite another person into the bed. Because threesome.
It's crazy.
It's true, because they say, okay, marriage bed is undefiled.
they're
That
already
means
inviting somebody else in their mind. Yeah.
so I would like us to just talk about the realities of today in terms of sexual compatibility, and really and truly, I think how money comes into play is men feel, okay, now I have enough money to experience, or maybe these younger girls are more available or more willing. But the one you married that because nobody has touched her.
Yes.
In fact, I heard a guy once say, oh, my wife is for the normal one. My wife is for the normal, that one is normal. I don't want to know. When I go out, I can do everything else. So just talking to the realities of the truth of marriage today.
It's just carnality and deception. That's just it.
That's
because
it.
you see, if you don't have what you love what you have. The grass is not greener on the other side.
It's not.
If you water it, it will wither. So whatever you want to go and explore, sit down with your spouse and express your desires, your longings. And most of the time, you will find that those desires and longings are not inspired. They are influenced.
Yeah, influence, yes.
Because I say to people, if you have ever had sex before, this thing is sweet. And the person that created it is the creator, the most holy God.
Yes.
That created this sweet thing. He tells you how sweet he wants your life to be. So he doesn't hate you. He doesn't want you to be sad.
Yeah.
He made it in such a way that rich or poor, you don't even need money. Everything fits into each other.
Yeah.
That tells you the mind of God. So you are not unholy to be engaging in it when you are married.
Yeah.
So whatever discussion you want to have, you now begin to ask yourself, is this the way God wants it to be? Because if you're able to discuss, because one of the things that has happened is, by virtue of religion, I say that religion is more dangerous than the devil. Religion has done more harm in many people's life. And so I say to people, Christianity is not a religion. It's a relationship with your creator.
Yeah.
When you practice Christianity as a religion, you're going to be a pawn in the hand of charlatans. You're going to be a victim of the religious, cultural, traditional, inexposed interpretation of scriptures of the people you listen to. So many people grew up with holiness. Don't let a man touch you. So even when they are getting married, no marital counseling, no sexual counseling. So they enter and they are saying, let us pray before this sin we're about to commit. God forgive us. So when you are entering marriage with that kind of mindset, and so people have come and tell you, oh, Ora is right, Ora is wrong. People are now trying to legislate morality, legislate what happens in people's privacy. It becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Before marriage, I go back to courtship.
Yes.
You will have sat down and discussed. There are tests to run. There are a lot of psychometric personality tests that are existing now. If you do marriage counseling the way it's supposed to be done, when we run you through all this thing, all this compatibility you are talking about, things will have been sorted out, and there is nothing that cannot be learned. Once two of you are willing to learn together. And that's the way this thing works, because, I don't know. You see, God has taken me through a journey in my life. And it has made me to, when the Bible says, when you are converted, strengthen your brethren. I think there are some things that you go through, that's what you learn. Those that have never gone through will not comprehend. I am married now to someone that I married as a virgin. So I can tell you from two different dimensions that most of these things we are talking about, we are just being carnal and unrealistic. When I got married, I could not have sex for the first 6 weeks of the marriage. Why? She's a virgin. Me, I thought I was experienced, but I've never married a virgin before. And I'm like, this experience, if I mess up, it might become something that will go on forever.
Yep.
So even though everybody was thinking honeymoon was going on, nothing for Semefa, man of God. For Semefa.
Wow.
We were just trying, okay. So now, when we sit down, we are talking, it's two different conversations. I said, look, don't see me as anybody experience. I don't have any experience. I'm also a virgin. So I'm seeing the difference now. There is nothing to compare anything
Correct.
to.
Yes.
Correct.
Do you understand now? So I'm like, wow, so I'm the one that now has to work on myself.
Yes.
My wife doesn't have that problem. She doesn't even understand. So when it's like, I'm like, this God is good. So it is a revelation to me
Correct.
of the beauty of purity.
Correct.
That baby, no, but she really, but this is my lifestyle. You know, all
Yes.
my journey
Has caused
has
a lot
messed
of
me up
distortion.
to a level where I have to be, and this person is just playing. And I'm telling you, it's a different buggy. Let's do it God's will. I'm telling you.
Yes.
It always
And the
is.
idea of the marriage bed being undefiled, two is the marriage bed, and the marriage is between two people.
Yeah.
So as long as those two people, not three, not four, as long as it's the marriage bed, the marriage defines only two people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as long as it is those two people in their bedroom, whatever they do is undefiled, right? Agreeing to what they will do is what the issue is.
Yeah.
Whatever they do is undefiled. Whatever way they want to express themselves sexually, as long as it's between husband and wife,
Yeah.
there is no sin in that.
Yeah.
But agreeing on what that should be based on, like Pastor Lumide said, two different contexts from two different experiences has brought different assumptions, right? So they have to be able to sit down, you know, and understand their level of exposure, you know, because their level of exposure, I don't mean positive exposure to whatever you're not supposed to know that you have come to know. You have to create some type of harmony, you know, within that gap of understanding. Again, you know, the fact of pornography is also very key. And science is clear that when you indulge in pornography, masturbation, it completely messes up with your mentality on many levels, both physiologically, mentally, emotionally, on many levels, right? Your ability to think clearly, to maintain drive and energy, you know, all of those things are taken away from you. You cannot keep strong focus when you indulge in pornography and masturbation. You can't, no matter who you are, because your brain is learning a different neural path and is sticking to it. And you can't love a woman. You fall in love with your hand because that's what you use.
Yeah.
You know, so once you indulge in that, you are breaking your resonance with somebody else, right? With your spouse. So, you know, a lot of, you see, it's a shameful thing. People are not proud to say, oh, I watch pornography, or oh, I masturbate.
Yeah.
You know, but there's nobody that is going to perform at a level, you know, and keep a habit like that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's small, it defeats you on many levels. You know, we can analyze that till tomorrow to be fact. You know, so the commitment to understand that you are married to someone goes beyond, you know, what you do physically. Even what you do, you know, in your mind, like Pastor Olumide said, is your mind. That's your sexual organ. You know, what you do in your mind, you know, being able to sleep with 5, 10, 20 women watching pornography and getting, you know, to climax based on that, and you know, deriving your satisfaction based on that. It pretty much means that you have training every part of you in variety. And so fidelity becomes a problem on a daily basis. But because we don't communicate that, we don't talk about that, it's not on the conversation at all, they then come together and begin to pick other issues as the issues that they have. You know, when I look at pornography, it's the same way I look at money and communication. We don't identify those things as the problem. So we pick other issues to represent those problems. So we never solve the problem because the real issues we are not discussing at all. And for the most part, when people begin to have challenges with their marriages sexually, for the most part, I found out that there's so many people are struggling with pornography. So many people are, but it's never going to come to the front burner of conversation, you know, except somebody is bold to really engage them, you know, and that is not a rule to say this is what happens every time, but a lot of times, you know, when you get down to it, people get locked away from their spouse because they're dealing with something else in private that is giving them all the connection. Of course, a lot of other things, disrespect, you know, can shut down a man. Disrespect, just because he really can't communicate his highest esteem in his own house.
Yeah.
A part of him can be broken from that. And when he looks at you, he doesn't see, that object for pleasure and meaning. He sees an adversary. Unfortunately, this is his home. He can't respond to an adversary, to his wife, like he will respond to an adversary. So the only response is to shut down. That shutdown is safety mode.
Yeah.
Because if it goes beyond that, it's war. And it doesn't want to get there. So it shuts down and it begins to shut down. And it happens to women as well.
Yeah.
You push a woman to a point, and she gets to that point, she just shuts down.
Yep.
And then it takes the grace of God, some form of intervention, definitely counseling therapy, to push out of that revelation or some kind of epiphany to push out of that. But these things happen.
And just speaking about respect, you see that word respect. A man is in a home and he's not the main provider. The woman is not that she wants to be disrespectful. Maybe she just has a better job, she has more money, and she stepped into that shoe of being the sole or the main provider as per money. How do men handle that? Because I think in today's world, we're seeing that is beginning to break a lot of marriages, because a man cannot handle the fact that he's not in that seat of being the main provider.
Okay, we'll go back again. Cultural, traditional marriage, contemporary marriage, or kingdom marriage. As a woman, you don't have money. You want to do something. You ask me as your man, oh, I would like to get this. I would like to get that.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to travel. Can I travel next week? I'm thinking of going to. You ask me. Why are you asking me? You claim that you are asking because you are submissive. But you are not really submissive. You are asking because you can't afford it. Now you are a woman. You can afford it. You are no more asking me. I just come home. I see 4 bags. How was that? I just went to do shopping. I bought it. I bought that. Oh, wow. So you can just do anything now. I'm no more relevant. You want to travel. You are not even telling me, I didn't remember. I'm going to London today, but I've already prepared food. And oh, wow, you're going to London today. Oh, wow. So because you can afford the ticket now, those are the issues. It's not about the money. It's not about whether you earn more or not. It's about the attitude with which you go about it. Because you see, a man can spend money from January to December without complaining in the traditional and contemporary marriage.
Yeah.
Not kingdom. But a woman spends just once or twice, the world will not laugh. It's like, I don't know, everything's so expensive now. I say, and you are like, but I've been doing this thing. I paid rent for 17 years. You pay for 1 year because I'm in crisis. And that 1 year, the world will end. Even rent. But I've been paying for 17 years. I've never said anything. I just do it because it's like, why is it that you are doing it? Well, I've been paying school fees. Now dollar has changed. You have made myself, babe, I need $10,000. No. Hello, is it not our children? So most of the time, while there are some men that have an ego issue, there are some men that are insecure that cannot handle a strong woman.
Correct.
That's the reality. Sometimes, most of the time, a lot of women don't realize that when you are in a traditional cultural marriage, a man's manhood is connected to 2 things: sex, bedroom, and money. In a traditional marriage, in a cultural marriage. So once the man cannot perform, he has erectile dysfunction, he can't do, you are talking 2 minutes, hey, have you finished? You don't come. You are finishing the man. Yeah. Because that is who, then he doesn't have, hey, so are you going to pay this one? Are you going to borrow money again? You are finishing the man. Because in a traditional cultural marriage, that is who he is. Ability to perform, money and bedroom. So once you are in a traditional marriage, anything you do, when a man does not have money, everything is interpreted financially. You are sitting down watching a movie. The man is sitting next to you. Everybody is laughing and enjoying. And then they show a beautiful house, a palatial mansion. And you say, wow, when will I have this kind of house? Trouble.
That's it.
Why? Because when you make that kind of expression, now, are we saying you should be in bondage, you should not be free? No. but you should be conscious of your environment and who you are dealing with. If you are in a kingdom marriage, it's a different ball game because in a kingdom marriage, the couples are friends.
Yes.
In a cultural marriage, they are not friends. The one is boss, the other one is subset. But in the kingdom marriage, we are friends. Instead of saying what they say, you don't call them, you relate you. My baby, check out bedroom here. My share, you'll be gisting and laughing. It won't be like, hey,
They have said this.
see women, see people. Huh? God, when will I have this kind of house? The man will just shrink. Because what you have just said is, you're not a man. You can't provide. But you thought you were watching a movie. And then the man changes. And then the next thing, are you ready for food? No, I'm okay. I want to quickly go and see John. He leaves. So we just need to understand what kind of marriage are we running and then have constant conversation so that we will not be putting ourselves, because this world, you have just one life to live.
Yeah.
If you leave it where one is enough, where everybody deserves to be loved, we don't have all this unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
I was still telling my wife yesterday, I said, thank God for good marriage, that the stress of marriage for some people, I'm like, too little. Why can't we be happy? So I don't know, but God will help us. Give us global perspective.
I think Pastor Lumide is right. Respect is a need of the human condition. Both husband and wife need respect.
Yes.
Right? The human being deserves the respect his or individuality requires.
Yeah.
Respect is a need, and people try to minimize it. They want to slap ego on it. But respect is a need, right? For men, it's slightly different, particularly in our type of society where a lot of responsibility is placed on the man existentially, and it's not placed on him by God, but society places it on him.
Yes.
And the woman too allows that placement. So you allow the placement. For example, if you say that the husband is the provider, and the husband's money is our money, and your money is your money. For example, where we started from, if you accept that, then that is already placing another demand on you. You have to then begin to honor that man as your source. And when the man begins to feel justified and therefore, vexed when he doesn't get that level of honor, none of it is natural, because ideally the money of the husband is our money. Your money is our money. But if you allow him to say you are the provider, if you don't provide, you are not a man. Okay, so if I'm providing, then I am the man. Yeah. So you must give me, a level of respect that is not ordinary. I demand it because he doesn't know, but from his subconscious, he's making that demand because you are permitting that demand and you are making that demand of him, right? So it's like two dead bodies trying to enter one coffin and fighting for who has the bigger space. You are both dead. It's just wrong. Yeah. People just have to learn to understand the mutuality and of the human condition in measuring coexistence, peace. All those things are not fabrics that you can sustain for too long on your own. We are not in an independent world, right? So no matter who you are, no matter how powerful you are, you don't get to become a chain, you are a link. And so you can't be everything on your own. And the way I put it is that, the best of you is always in you, but the completion of you is always in others. As long as you are in your room, talking to God alone or doing whatever you are enough. But if you are going to organize one project, you are going to have to hire a PA, get a staff, you have to cooperate with people. Yeah. Then there's a completion in that that is not in you, and you'll have to depend on other people. And that should bring a level of humility out of all of us to learn to tolerate each other. I try as much as I can to see respect as something that I deserve and that I owe. Not just what I deserve. So everywhere I find myself, doesn't matter if I'm talking to my chauffeur or to my assistant, I strive to be better. I'm not perfect in these things, nobody is. But the truth is, I strive to measure my right to respect with my duty to give it. And not to rest on any of the two extremes. So I'm asking for it. I'm also asking myself, am I giving it? But Do we deserve respect? As human beings, we do.
Yeah.
Do men deserve more respect in our type of society, in a traditional situation, even in a contemporary situation? Yes, because society demands more responsibility
So
at
much
that
responsibility.
level. So the only way to get out of that pedestal is when all of us come to that same level of duality and equality, to understand that we all have a responsibility to show up financially in a home, right? We both have the responsibility to show up emotionally in a home. We both have the responsibility to show up mentally, in a home. And we come together to say, what is your contribution? What is mine? What am I bringing into this marriage, into this situation? Whatever need that we have, we come together to say, how are we going to resolve this? Particularly how we resolve conflict, because that's another issue. If you don't learn how to resolve conflict, you really will be helpless in the face of the smallest of challenges. Because the instrument that you will use, it's like when you are not wise. Once you don't have wisdom, how do you even love God? How do you even obey God when you don't have wisdom as a principal thing? So if you don't first understand how to disagree to agree, if you can't agree on that, on our most honest day, we're going to have a crisis. Because we will disagree in this world. Because we are two different people. My mom is 80-something now. We still have sharp disagreements. After I'm 53. We still have sharp disagreements. My siblings, we've lived together for 50 years, for 40 years. We still have sharp disagreement. How do I bring a lady into my home 21 years ago and I'm shocked, or 22 years ago, that we're having an issue? You're going to have issues.
Of course.
You have issues with your mom. You have issues with your dad, right? So the top skill that we need is our capacity to resolve conflict, because conflict is a constant. So even in marital counseling, I always say that, above all, teach them how to love, teach them how to do all of that, but they must learn how to resolve conflict.
Yes.
Conflict resolution.
Because it's key.
It's key.
Because no matter how anointed you are, no matter how humble you are going to be conflicted. It is inevitable that offense will come.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if it is sure, then what kind of presence ought we to be? Right? So, yeah.
Oh, so good. So I'm going to start rounding up now.